You tried
I
so
think
hard and you got so far, but in the
and
end, it didn't even matter.
you just got copyrighted.
Come on,
Alright.
that was good. How long have you been at it?
Just over 2 years. We actually just celebrated that
Oh my gosh, holy
a
crap,
week
dude.
ago. We ended it a week ago.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah,
We
dude.
did a week-long celebration, and it started the week before, and the seventh day was the 2 years, and yeah, it was
That's
a long time.
that's awesome. So, for those that aren't familiar with Tooth and Friends, tell me about your channel in your community. Like, if you could give me your, here's what we do.
Butts. We are a community. That's just that we were just talking about running channel jokes with the with every time you go full cam and you're piercing and all your chat goes a piercing question mark.
Yeah.
Well, with us it was butts. It was probably a month in.
Yeah.
And one of several of our regulars, they always would make comments like, I just want to touch your butt. Not always to me. Like it was often to each other. And I started off as a non-cam streamer 2 years ago. The 2 year anniversary of the stream is the 2 year anniversary of an odd thing, but of the 1.1 patch where they added more content to Stardew Valley. I got into Stardew probably late May, mid-May, mid to late, maybe, and just got really into it. It was so much fun. And it was just one of those games. And I was a guy that came from Harvest Moon and all that stuff, played it religiously as a kid. And so for me, Stardew was just the game. And I wanted more about it. Like I wanted to watch more stuff. And for once, I felt like at this point in my life, because I hadn't been doing PC gaming in a while, I was like, let's just look up stuff. So in June, I made my Twitch account. That's how young it is, more and more. It's pretty young.
Yeah.
I came to Twitch for Stardew Valley, and I learned pretty quick there was no such thing as a Stardew Valley streamer. There were Binding of Isaac streamers. There were, Halo streamers, H1Z1 streamers, Mario Maker streamers, everything. Even games like Oxygen Not Included, RimWorld.
Yeah.
And there really wasn't any Stardew. And the whole stream really, I feel like, started as that. You know what I mean?
Right. So you went on Twitch and you're like, no one streams Stardew. And then what did you just said, I'm gonna do it? Or how did that come? Like, was that just an instant idea, or did you like kind of toss it around? Like, how did that go?
I think it was because this sounds cocky. Other than one person, I saw nobody with a setup that even compared. And this sounds cocky, but I was just like, because I remember thinking at one point, would I want to like put up a YouTube video, this kind of stuff? But I really didn't get into the YouTube gaming thing growing up. I never wasn't my kind of thing.
Sure.
I go to YouTube for videos, like music videos and like how-tos, like how do I open this? Like, you know what I mean? Like, or maybe honestly just quests in video games, how to do this. But pretty quickly I realized I liked what Twitch was. I thought it was a cool experience, and we were talking about radio before we started this, and just about that kind of those stories. And it was one of those things where I was just like, it'd be fun as a hobby, and I think it'd be fun to try to get into it. But I was really hesitant, actually. It took me like a full month from when I thought about doing it until I actually did it.
Oh, yeah.
And the last 3 weeks, not that it took a full month for me to be like, I am going to do this, but I actually, because it kind of was, but I was preparing with the idea that I wanted to do it. But the whole way up to it, I was like working on my stream and looking at things. And I was like, this is a terrible idea. I don't want to stream. This is terrible. Nobody's going to want to watch me play this game.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I just doubted myself really bad, but I kept pushing forward.
Yeah.
And I think that's a weird thing that a lot of us get. Maybe to some extent. I think some people might just be like, I know, but I don't know. I don't know. A lot of people come into my channel and ask me, I'm thinking about streaming, but I don't know if I want to get into it. And I just look back to my time and I just kind of smile because I'm like, I hear that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really.
Was there just finally like what was the tell me about the day that you decided to like hit that button?
Well, the day that I decided to hit the button was probably a week and a half before I did, because I did make plans to do it on the release once I realized. Like, I'd been working on it at that point for about a week and a half, just kind of setting up some things, watching videos, trying to understand the ideas behind it more. Because unlike you, I had some production understanding, but not quite in television or radio.
Sure.
So for me, that wasn't there. Now, I did understand audio. This will make you laugh. Church soundboard.
Yeah,
like
nice.
From a 10-year-old kid, because people couldn't always make it. And so I learned at a young age.
Right.
I was doing night church at first, but then it was like, then I would actually, like, as an 11-year-old, I was doing like the actual soundboard during Sunday sermons. Like, so I understood that stuff at a young age, which is why I do want to get a mixer, an actual mixer someday, because I think that'd be premium. People actually ask me in whispers all the time, hey, digging your stream, nice vibe. What mixer do you use? And I'm like, I don't have one.
I don't have one. Do you don't use like a digital mixer at all either?
No, and personally, I don't think that I would recommend most new streamers not to. If that's more your vibe, if you're used to that kind of stuff, then go for it. But I would say most streamers in Twitch use hardware when it comes to that, and I think that's a better option. Now, if you can't afford it, and that's a long way off, and you want to adjust your stuff more, but we were talking about this. We got good audio, and we just use decent audio at least. Yeah, and we just use our Blue Yetis with pretty much basic filters and whatnot.
Yeah,
I use a couple OBS filters, and that's it.
Nice.
I went to one stream, and I was, I got kind of, it was Zen Zero, actually. I got to get to know him. He doesn't really stream now, but he might kind of do a comeback. I hope he does. He hasn't done it in a long time. But he had a community, and they played Stardew a bit, and we got to become friends with them. I like these people. They were pretty cool. And we had, a couple of us had some really good, like voice chats and whatnot.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, you obviously know a lot about this game. You mind if I check it out on your Steam? And I was like, sure. And they were like, did you say that you might, blah, blah, blah. Somebody asked you if you were the kind of person that wanted to stream. And I was like, I've been thinking about it.
Yeah.
And so then they saw my farm.
Yeah.
And everybody tripped out, because I was at the time, like year 4, I was religiously playing the game. Right. By the time I started streaming, the night that I started, I went into year 6.
Oh, so you just
I was
started
playing this game that religiously.
Yeah,
my main character.
So you were
a billionaire.
Yeah, you were far in when you started.
Like far in a way compared to what he is now.
I was going to say, well, like,
but yeah.
Yeah, it's relative, right? Like, I mean, tell me more. Like what? How
they
much
pushed me though, man. Like, I started getting 4 to 5 people watching me offline. Like, I mean, I say offline now. I didn't know what that was back then. I didn't know different. Like, we didn't have that lingo. They were watching me on Steam.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't have no profile as a gamer or nothing.
That's amazing.
And that really, have fun. Oh, name dropping.
Yeah.
Well, he's a supporter and guy that goes around and is a good friend to a lot of people.
Yeah, dude.
And he's just a viewer. And he was one of those people that really pushed me. And whenever I see him, I just kind of smile.
That's so cool.
Yeah, he would watch me like quite often. And we would just kind of talk at VC. And everybody would just lurk. They'd just be doing their things. And they'd be like, hey, what's that? What's that, Tooth?
So you kind of got, a bunch of pressure's not the word, but like a bunch of people were like, hey, we want to see it. So then you started streaming to Steam. At what point did you end up, you're like, okay, now I'm going to just start streaming on Twitch? Like what was there a moment in that, or how did that come about?
I think it was pretty much while I was just playing for them. I think it was that moment of people would actually, because like I said before, there was that doubt. I think we've all had it as broadcasters before we started of, would somebody actually watch me? Or is somebody actually going to find an interest in what I had to say and what we're doing and just the people here in general? And back then, the idea, though, for me to stream was the fact that there wasn't a Stardew streamer, and I thought having a community around Stardew would be awesome.
Of course.
You know, just to have what you saw in other places on Twitch. I kind of wanted to have that with Stardew. And I gotta be honest, I'm surprised about the amount of time we have into Stardew, where we are in stream and community. It's just, it is kind of weird when you look at it, man. It's wild. Like, it's a beautiful weird. I say weird because I don't know how to describe it, but yeah.
So, as you got started, the when did you, if ever, have that moment of, oh, you know, we're on to something here, like, we're, you know, it's you know, a lot of people are starting to really like come to this community to do what we do. Did it ever hit you?
Yeah, about a month in, when random viewers started having drama with each other.
Oh yeah,
not in a bad way though.
Sure.
It was like whatever, but it was mostly people that, like, honestly were just kind of there for a moment anyhow. But it was because you had enough people to do that. Like, I don't know. I'm lucky. I'll be honest. I've always given the people, like, the kind of, you know, hey man, we all start somewhere. And truth is, I got to be honest, I started off a little bit as a nobody on the internet, easier than most, because I had 10 average viewers in my first broadcast. That's like, I don't know, for me, I look back and I just was like, man, I'm very fortunate. You know, I'm very fortunate to have that, because that's not the case in most situations. Like, you have to work hard on Twitch.
Yeah.
And we still did. I mean, months and months and months of like 20 to 30 people, where I remember I literally would stream 8 to 10 hours after I'd work 7 to 9 hours at the pizza place that I worked at. And, you know, it was weird because when I was doing it at that time, it was still for the sake of the hobby. But yet, I think in those first couple months, you started, during that grind, you started feeling like, man, you know, like you said, we are onto something. And it was weird, that like change of, I don't know, kind of like the priority, because originally, I'm going to say priority, but like, I guess the goals. Right. I never really thought about becoming a big streamer. I just wanted to have a fun community. And yeah, it's kind of weird. It's weird how that just kind of changes. Like, I don't know. I think enough people start believing in you, you realize anything's possible. And that's actually, I don't know, that's definitely the beauty of Twitch. And a lot of broadcasters in, you know, I would say that's one of those things that's almost hard to put to words, but I think we can all know and understand.
Right.
Like, you know, and you have a great community. You understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, there's that moment of just being like, damn. I don't know. It's weird. And I'm no big Twitch streamer. I'm not, you know, like I have a good outreach. I have a decent community, but like, it doesn't matter if you're 1,000 viewers at a time. It doesn't matter if you're 10 viewers at a time. Like, you have these individuals that care about each other and really enjoy, you know, being able to spend time with one another and the content that comes from that channel.
You know, you've been, you know, talking about how it's grown and kind of where you realized it finally became, you know, a thing. I guess what I want to know more about is, like, what. So you've been at it for, you say, 2 years now, right?
Yep, 2 years and a week.
2 years and a week. What in that time, like, would you say was like the biggest, like, accomplishment that you've had in those 2 years? To you, like, what was the one thing that stands out in all that time, from when you started streaming on Steam to now?
I would say there's kind of two.
Sure.
Obviously, getting partnership. That the time leading up to that, and the month, even a couple months to follow, it was kind of like giving it all you had at Everest and getting to the top.
Right.
But like, the difference is I wasn't doing it like, it didn't feel like a solo climb.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like a group climb, and when you got to the top, you weren't just there in isolation. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure it'd be gorgeous alone to view it, but still you're alone. You're experiencing it by yourself. And I got to the top and had a party. I had a like, it was like having everything, a freaking, you know, bar mitzvah, quinceañera, and
you came of age.
oh, pretty much.
Yeah.
The channel did. I mean, but yet at the same time, I would say actually my highest moment is a strange time. Like I don't think
Sure.
anybody else would have seen or realized it, but there was this weird point about a month after I would say in a lot of ways one of my first big crash and burns in the stream, which was, you see, so like I told you how the channel really didn't it didn't start with the idea of being a partner channel or a full-time channel or anything like that.
Right.
That wasn't the idea.
You just wanted to be a Stardew stream. You just wanted to provide a channel for people to consume Stardew.
That's exactly it.
Okay.
And there was probably in March, maybe late February and March of 2017, that I started to get really immersed in the idea of this is actually possible. We're over 1,000 followers, and in 2 months we went from 1,000 or like 1,100 followers to like 2,500 followers or something like that. Like it was nuts.
Yeah.
And it was in the first, less than 6 months. And at that time we were averaging around 100 viewers. And to be fair, like all the times where the channel's been big, it's always at times where like big releases come out for Stardew, like the PS4 release, the Switch release. So like, to be fair, that's going to be a part of success, being in the right place, the right time. That's always a thing. But that wasn't a big moment for me. My big moment was about a month and a half after that, when we had been denied 3 times over the course of like 70 days. And I like pretty much actually was kind of sour, kind of almost gave up on the idea of actually getting partnership.
Right.
And it was that moment where one of my really good friends in the channel, I kind of want to say their name, but I don't want to embarrass them, so I won't.
Sure. Okay.
But one of my good friends came to me and they said, I just want you to know that regardless of what happens, regardless of what you do, this community was something special, or is something special. I didn't say was. Sorry. Sometimes my past and present. But this channel is something special. And that regardless if you decide to keep with it or to part time or to, suspend it, because I was definitely in a low point.
Right.
They just, they were like, I really wanted you to know that you were there for me and a lot of my good friends. And, and that's the thing. That guy said that, but he wasn't friends with any of us before the channel.
Yeah.
And, he's saying my good friends. And I remember being like, and you guys have been there for me. And it was just kind of this moment of realizing, because in my head, everything changed. My priority from just having a good community and having a hobby that I enjoyed became to, I need this success, which for some reason means getting partnered. And I let that skew my vision. And it was at that moment, with like 30 less average viewers at the time than I had a month and a half ago, that I realized I had an incredibly strong community.
Yeah.
And that I made it. And I just, at that point on, I literally, where you click so it can be hover, hide your viewers and stuff.
Yeah.
That's when I finally did it. That's when I did that. I hid everything else, and I was just like, I don't even have the dashboard up anymore. I use pop-outs for everything. And like, not that like I feel like it's some terrible temptation. I think we're all different on that. I think some people can look at viewer counts, not let it bother them. I think some people obsess over them too much, especially, and we all know what that's like, I think, to some extent. To some extent, like that's in our back of our mind of what's the viewers like? Is there, are we doing good? Whatever. But if you're having a good time, man, and you feel like you're putting out content that you enjoy and you're proud of, and that's definitely the challenge I feel in streaming, is sometimes, it can be tough to kind of view that or to rate that.
Right.
like what that success is. But I don't know, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's out of all the downs that there are, it's just like life.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say the ups definitely outweigh the downs, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I'm a
Yeah.
lucky beast.
Yeah, dude. You have an incredible community. I've been there a lot.
Sexy demons.
So you would say your biggest things were like partnership, and then realizing that regardless of where you were, that you already had a good community.
I think the only reason that the getting partnership actually is one of my top moments is because it was the conclusion of probably the best moment in my Twitch career, which was when you felt like you were at the bottom, you know, that
Mm-hmm.
feeling of just like, for some reason you think you're alone, but you're not,
Right.
you know, and I had that one friend, and there were a lot of people there that were, you know, I wouldn't say reaching out, but they had their hands like this if I was willing, kind of a thing. Like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And they just said something that, you know, sometimes you just need to hear that one thing.
Totally.
Sometimes you just need to hear that one thing. And yeah, I don't know why that moment is so profound to me, but like I feel like everything after that is just kind of a culmination of, you know, what the community is, what we built it to be, and just the struggle and the good times.
Yeah.
You know, yin and yang, dude. Without it, ook.
You said, through the struggle and through the good things. What kind of struggles did you go through? Like, how
Oh,
what were the hard times like? Like, what'd you, if you're willing to talk about those, what what was hard about it? What's hard about doing what you do?
I would say the hardest stuff for me is myself, and what I mean by that is, I think regardless of what the issue is, you know, whether it's viewers, whether it's expectations, whether it's whatever, I really think your biggest enemy is always going to be yourself. And for me personally, pretty early on, I stopped letting random people bother me.
Yeah.
But it's still one of the weirdest things for me. There's times where I allow myself just to get upset, and it's usually over people that are like family and regulars.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, they're just trolling me or trolling some other people, and they're getting upset, and all of a sudden there's a drama. And I think my biggest struggle, and still something I work with, is, you know, just realizing, why are we here? You know, at this point, I would
Yeah.
say it was a hobby for fun,
Yeah.
but the fun part's always part of it. It's always about having a good time and entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to put those priorities above others. And it's something I struggle with daily, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, the thing that I actually strangely like about my flaws and there it is, fucking up that way,
Yeah.
is that, oh God, it reminds me that, you know, there's still those things that I need to work on, because honestly, if you're not constantly growing in some way, and I don't mean viewers, I don't mean Twitch channel. If you're not growing in some way, what are you doing? You know, like, I think we all go through different phases of different growth, and that's our own path to take.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, there's something about it that is a challenge to me, but I want to overcome it, because I have a community that has really pushed me hard to believe in myself. And I need to believe in that, you know, to the point where they pretty much get the best out of me because they deserve it. And that sounds kind of silly. They've shown me things about myself that I didn't know was possible. And I don't mean being a Twitch streamer or stuff like that, just the ability to express myself, to talk about things that sometimes you're just good to talk about,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And there's something magical in that really just, that's as much wordage as I can put to it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I know what the next question is.
What is the next?
If you couldn't stream Stardew, what would you stream?
What would you stream?
I mean, I would say I already showed that before, which is RimWorld. It's just a nice other game to go to, and it really pleases my personal sandbox satisfaction.
Yeah.
The thing I like about that game is it's completely random. Like anything can happen, and every story is always different.
Yeah.
It's fun because it's a weird hybrid. Like, I wish there was a game that was a perfect Stardew replacement, but it's so hard to get that in any genre, in any game, in whatever you do. To get that game that, like, unless you're playing a real strict genre, like if you're playing PUBG and Call of Duty's BR is coming out, you're fine. But like otherwise, like what happens after Oxygen? You know what I mean? Like it actually is it's something we think about all the time.
How often do you think about that? When you
all the time.
All the time. Like,
which is
it a daily thing for you, or like is it every other day? You're like, man.
Good weeks, bi-weekly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, yeah, that's it's definitely a struggle because I'm in a point now where I know a ton of people love that we do Stardew and that we still do it after 2 years.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Even though we've had a little bit of breaks. I'm 89. I looked the other day. It's actually 1% lower now. But 89% of our stream history of 3,500 plus hours on Twitch.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I saw that number the other day and I was like, oof.
Holy.
Yeah. It just made me realize that, we have it's kind of crazy how much we've grinded that game out. And I think some people get to a point where it's kind of just too much for them even.
Yeah.
Like, I've watched enough Stardew, I'm good. So I feel like, I think one of the healthier things to do is, even if you're a niche streamer, have one game you play once every other week or something. Try to mix it up and try to get other stuff in your schedule, which I've been trying to do a little bit of. Because, I feel like sometimes I'm the most entertaining when I've been doing something I haven't done or haven't been doing a lot of.
There's a lot of truth to that.
But at the same time, for a lot of people, that information that we can give about games, like you can tell me all sorts of stuff that I am so ignorant to. I haven't played Oxygen since before Diseases.
It's changed a lot. It's changed a lot. It's still changing.
Sanitate. Oh, dude, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I was pretty early on. I think, what was that? The heating, cooling one, maybe?
Oh, yeah. They're on, like, space industry now. So you can, like, send rockets to other planets and stuff. It's crazy.
Planets or asteroids?
Planets.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a star chart, and then you send them off to get resources. They bring them back. It's crazy. So I noticed, what was it? Was it your last stream? I lurked for a little bit. I didn't get.
You like that?
I didn't get to stay, but you were reading a book to your stream. Tell me about that. Like, what?
Well, we did Alice in Wonderland. I read it all in one stream.
Yeah.
I read it all yesterday.
That's amazing.
Were you there for the end?
Not for the end. I caught part of the beginning, and then I poked. I didn't get to catch.
I didn't see you once. You didn't say hi, so
yeah. I was kind of like, I was gonna say hi, and like, I need to take care of something. But
no, you're good.
Talk to me.
You don't need to talk. We appreciate lurkers.
Yeah. 100%.
If there's any lurkers watching this right now, which that's what you do, so there are. That's what they do. You got VODs.
Yeah.
Oh, you got YouTube content. Oh, like, I've had so many people that never talk to my channel that go, "Hey, just wanted you to know I finally binged your series. Appreciate your stream for doing that." And I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so you can do public domain stuff. You can read it on stream.
Yeah.
But I would definitely say be cautious about that. Make sure, you're in the good, right?
Yeah.
Because, that's the thing. You might want to read a book that you like, but you can't read.
Right.
I think it's a lot of fun, though. I used to read to my grandfather when I lived with him for over a year. He was at a point where he really couldn't see much. He had trouble with mobility. He was in his 90s. And he loved reading. He was an author to some extent. He wrote, I think, like 11 books. Yeah, 11 books, 9 in a series and 2 in a separate series, a fictional revolutionary series. That was interesting. Yeah, he wrote fiction.
Wow.
Good stuff. It was It was religious Christian and meant for middle school boys. I
Oh,
come from really religious background, man.
wow.
Really
That's
religious.
a whole conversation right there,
He was a
too.
missionary slash pastor, and my father was a missionary.
Dang, dude.
Local, like an evangelist type.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they did. You ever heard of like Bible schools and
Yeah.
the release time Bible classes where you get out of math class to go listen to some guy, give you a lesson about God, like a Sunday school class?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
So how is reading? How is reading for a stream? Like, have you? I don't think
It
you've.
felt really good actually
Yeah.
because I got to be honest. There's something I for a year and a half I read aloud to my grandfather, and we read some of my favorite books and read some books I never heard of,
Mm-hmm.
and I missed it.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to be honest, doing that last night, I really want to do more of it. And
Yeah.
this is going to be old news by the time this comes out, but
Mm-hmm.
we're going to be doing Peter Pan.
Nice.
We're going to be doing Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Maybe I should work on not swearing in it at all
Mm-hmm.
and put that on the YT self promotion. This guy,
Yeah.
what a sellout.
Do you have a YouTube?
I do. It's basic.
Yeah.
It's real basic. It's like 25 episodes that are an hour and a half to 2 hours long that are not edited.
Oh, that's right.
It's
Of
just
your.
live stream content, and it's the first year of a character. I
Mhm.
did from spring day one until the end of year one.
Yeah.
Ended with all Iridium tools, 36 Iridium sprinklers, I think like 20 crystallariums or 15 crystallariums, and that takes a bunch of Iridium, all the things I just
Yeah.
mentioned.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, yeah, it was crazy.
So people could watch you like start the first year.
It was my best ever year one, and it
Oh,
was
really?
just, I mean, I tried. I
Yeah.
tried to make it as good as I could. I made a lot of mistakes along the way, and that's what I
Sure.
loved about that. It was fun, but that's really all I got on there. Then I have a 30-second clip of Pam eating my statues. You know, the golden cat statues on my main farm? They cost $1 million a pop.
You just
Yeah. There's a 30-second clip of me raging. It has a lot of views, actually. Well, not
I bet.
For me, it has a lot of views. It has like almost 2,000. And
That's pretty good.
It's not bad. I mean,
It's not bad.
I'm not a YouTuber, and I don't have really that much content. But yeah, it's funny.
Do you think you'll put you'll put your readings on there?
If the public domain thing is cool, I'm pretty sure it would be. I'll look into YouTube's TOS or whatever.
Yeah.
Is that what they have? They call it TOS?
Sure.
We are so brainwashed by Twitch. You ever just get out in real life and be like, feels bad, man?
I try not to, but yeah.
I do it
I do it internally a lot of the time.
I say OS sloth still, and that's not even the emote anymore.
Yeah, I use emotes in texting when I text friends, but I learned
Come on, bro.
I learned though that if you have like an iPhone and you download the Twitch app, you can use the emotes as stickers. How do you feel about backseating? Talk to me about
it's
that.
An in-between. I think there's a difference between giving somebody help, because that's something that I used to just have a problem with in general, but I really don't have as big of a problem with it. I have a problem if they want to literally walk you through everything without any you give them a little. The problem with backseating is if you allow the first couple times, like I wouldn't say allow, like you don't have to really bring much to it. You don't have to be like, you can almost ignore it if you want.
Yeah.
Just ignore it. And if they keep doing it, whatever it is, what it is, you can maybe take care of it or whatever.
Yeah.
But I've learned that, the annoying thing is if you allow the first couple times, you'll literally have them tell you to do like 30 things within 15 minutes. And it's not only kind of frustrating, because you don't feel like you're actually playing, like you're just their avatar.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of that. It's almost overwhelming, because not only are you catering to your chat room, your community, but you have your boss that's telling you how to play it. And like, it's nothing personal. There are games where I think you want to have that. I think some games, they're actually, they're like one-time playthroughs anyways. And it's the kind of game where you want to have, like, instead of having regular conversations about other stuff, it's more of a like puzzle solving or whatever. You guys all get through it together. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I think some games, people need to realize that RimWorld's it's kind of an example of like some advice is okay, but if you're just helping them through everything,
Yep.
that game isn't about winning. It's about the puzzles you're solving. And in that game, it's the odd variations that you're trying to figure out as it goes. What works better in these situations?
Mm-hmm.
Why does this react to this?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's better for whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just so many elements to that game that for me, the fun in it is literally just enjoying the experience. But yeah, that game has taught me to be kind of patient about some stuff when it comes to that. Backseating's an interesting one. I think some people are abrasive and blunt about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think some people do it in a way where it's almost like what people say about me, and people are excited that I started reading. They're like, I could listen to you read a dictionary. Like, some people backseat in a way where it doesn't feel like backseating. You feel like you're actually enjoying like a very, you know, I don't know, almost like a good, you know, just smart conversation. Like, you guys are enjoying the conversation that you're in, that you're having a really good back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it, like, there's some backseating that I wouldn't even call it that. I would call it a friend helping a mofo out, you know?
Yeah.
But I got to be honest, this sounds toxic, but that never happened in Stardew. Did we already explain that I have way too many hours in that game? Did they
How
hear
many
that?
hours do you have in Stardew Valley?
Almost 3,500 official hours. I have 3,700 unofficial because I didn't have the internet actually when I first played the game and I binged like 200 hours out in the first month.
That's amazing.
I had problems.
What do you But so of those 30,
I said had,
still do. Of
played
those
for 2 years straight.
Of those 3,700 or 3,500 roughly, how many of those hours are streamed? Estimate
Of the game?
Yeah, well, yeah.
I think it is around 34 or 35 or something.
That's so crazy.
Yeah,
awesome.
I mean, it's hard to say. I think it would be closer to 34.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's some like in between. Like, back in the day, there were times that I actually played off stream. In the first year, I played the game off stream. Not all the time, but I played it. I got to a point where I started getting other games to kind of mix it up. But yeah, like I said, it's hard to say with the unofficial and all that.
Yeah.
And I'd probably have to look it up if you want to know the exact Stardew hours that
I would love to later not hear about that, but I would love to hear, and I don't know how easy that data is to get based on like history, but how many hours of watched people
Do you know what Twinge is?
Oh yeah. But was it tracking
easy
you?
to look that up.
Was it tracking you all the way back then?
It starts tracking you once you've had an average viewer base of 15 viewers concurrent.
Right.
And like I said, I was kind of lucky, so I had that within a week of streaming.
I would love.
It has almost my whole career on there.
I would love to hear at some point randomly, like find out how many hours watched total of Stardew people have, like your you know, your channel has seen.
You know, if they would have had I like that, you know, it's not about when they had it, but if the stuff we have now with the dashboard, you know what I'm talking about, affiliates, all you guys, we have all those achievements, and it's nice because that can kind of give you a base, like, oh yeah, it's how many of this I generally have. If you're a niche streamer, you can look at some of those things and apply it to that. Because there is you know what I'm talking about, the how many hours watched. Yeah. I wish that would have existed when I first started streaming, but it didn't. Yeah. They added that.
Dude, that's
6-7 months in.
It's amazing.
Yeah. That would have been cool. I remember when those like stats, when those stats came out, and that like you had like you started over, like, you know, your progression, because like it didn't record stuff before that.
Yep.
And a lot of people were making jokes like, hey guys, I've played, you know, I know a lot of Dead by Daylight streamers. Yeah. I played 5 hours of Dead by Daylight on stream.
Yeah. You probably look at all these as much as the rest of us do. What, other than Stardew, what's the number one game people watch when they watch your channel? Or other games, you know, where it says other games people watch? You know what I'm talking about on the dashboard when you look at your channel?
Other games? I
Yeah.
only ever see the other streamers
Oh.
or like shared streamers.
There's also a section that's like
What?
16%.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I'm looking this up.
Yeah.
You got to be kidding me. All right.
You didn't know that?
So it would be stream summary or channel summary?
Channel summary.
Get out.
I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't know how to Twitch.
Not necessarily.
It's very possible.
No, you're right. What game categories do my viewers like to watch?
Yeah, I would love to hear it.
Stardew is 4%.
Where are the others?
All right, so 73% other. But right?
That's the best.
Is yours like that too?
No, actually, you want to hear something crazy?
What's your other?
Okay, I looked at mine. What games and categories do my viewers like to watch? Number 1, 31%. What is it?
You're asking me?
Yeah. 31.
Oxygen not included.
RimWorld.
Really? The RimWorld community loves you.
No idea. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That's nuts.
10%.
You want to know mine?
10% watch Stardew Valley.
No, I'm at 4%. This is crazy. What is my life? Wait, is this just picking up the last few days or something?
30 days. The last 30 days.
Bro, my mind's blown. You want to know what my top is? Dead by Daylight.
There it is.
Why does the Dead by Daylight community love my Stardew Valley stream?
I don't know. Well, it's percentage
RimWorld
of
at 6%.
It's percentage of is of what your viewers tend to watch, right?
I know.
So it takes
an Assassin's Creed after that.
So the people who watch you mostly watch Dead by Daylight. Mostly.
That's so weird.
Yeah. My people mostly watch RimWorld.
It kind of makes sense though, because like I've been friends with a lot of the Dead by Daylight people, like through the time I've been a streamer. Yeah. That's my, I asked you the question, you said Hearthstone. For me, the game, I would love to stream Dead by Daylight, but my community doesn't want to watch me running around and killing survivors and making them squeal.
Yeah.
They don't want to watch that. They want to watch me farm parsnips.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I totally answered that question wrong, I think. Because it would be either.
It wouldn't be Hearthstone for you?
Well, here's the thing. I've been getting a lot into the tabletop role-playing games on my stream. So I've been playing a lot of D&D with my friends every week. And I think that would probably be it if I were to move into like completely different space. So
Whoa. But that's your answer of something that you would want to do, but you shouldn't do?
No. That's the answer of the
okay, because that's what Hearthstone should have been.
Hearthstone is that for me. But I said RimWorld is my second. I think
RimWorld and D&D is a nice tie there.
Yeah, it'd be
do both more and more. Do both.
Very possible.
We will watch.
Hearthstone is still the guilty pleasure, which is funny because I haven't played Hearthstone in a while. But I every so often I get the itch, right?
You fantasize for it. You don't have the time, do you?
But then that happens to me. But then I will like binge it for like 2 weeks off stream. Like I'll be.
How do you have off stream time though?
It'll be at lunch on my phone, or like I'll be hanging out or on my tablet.
Wait, Hearthstone's on the phone?
Oh yeah.
I mean that makes sense, kind of, but like what?
What do you mean?
I have no idea. I don't have a phone.
It is perfect for the phone. It's so good.
See, I don't have one, so I don't know about this.
So I'll play it on my couch. I'll be laying on my couch with either my tablet or my phone, and I'll do that for like 2 weeks when I'm like any free time, and I'm like,
down.
Yeah, and I've tried to like figure out in a short time like what's a good deck to build, but I haven't played enough to have all the good cards, so like I just put the shittiest deck together. Anyway.
Sounds like me when I used to play Magic, like real life Magic.
Yeah, totally. Like I get really into it and I do what I can and then I get it out of my system and then it goes a couple months and then I do it again. So you've been at it for a couple of years now. If you could jump into as I bump my head, if you could jump into like a time machine or you could like Discord yourself 2 years ago. And you're like, "Hey, young Tooth, I see that you're getting into streaming." What would you tell young Tooth as he's getting into streams? What would be like?
Are you ready for the kaboom?
Oh yes, the bomb. The bomb.
This is something, all right, personal stuff I don't like to bring to the stream.
Sure.
Super personal stuff. Like I might talk about experiences, family, whatever.
Same.
But I don't like to go to the point of like, I don't want you guys to like know, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it's like your own personal boundaries.
I'm the same way. Actually, I'd never talk about. Anyway, keep going.
All right. I'm gonna be 30 at the end of November.
Mm-hmm. Happy birthday.
When I was turning 20,
mm-hmm.
but a few months off from 20,
mm-hmm.
was when I developed a habit. I started to smoke tobacco.
Mm-hmm.
And in the last week, actually, I finally just said, time to nut up or shut up.
Uh-huh.
And I haven't smoked in about a week.
Dude.
And I started the old nicotine patch though, so I'm still on that, but I'm weaning myself off. And
dude,
the reality is I smoked the crap tobacco that you get in mass quantities, because you guys know I live frugally, but I smoke tobacco.
Yeah.
I would get the mass bags and get the rollies.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, and it costs so much cheaper. Instead of like right now, it's like almost $7 a pack where I live for 20 smokes for tailored cigarettes. That's terrible. So I'd make my own.
Yeah,
and I honestly smoked, and those are usually a lot kind of harsher almost.
Oh yeah,
probably not as good for you. Whatever. You smoke it at that point, it's all bad for you.
Right.
But I would smoke about a pack and a half a day worth.
Wow.
Sometimes up to 2. And a lot of it, I don't know, like it's been like that for about a decade, almost. And I just got to a point a while ago, and I just kept kind of fighting over it. And I've tried several times throughout my streaming career to go cold turkey, and it was just hard. It was so hard. I don't know how anybody can actually. I mean, I think it's because I was at such a high amount of smokes a day. I think I was just really addicted, as well as I did enjoy smoking. It's just kind of a relaxing thing. But it just took on a whole nother beast. And I got to be honest, though, I'm not having a hard time this time around. It's actually not that bad, because this makes it chill. And I think just getting out of that habit is a big part of it.
So you would tell younger you not to.
I would have said do the patch, because I've been trying to quit for the last 4 years, honestly. Before I became a streamer. Yeah. This is happening again. But yeah, so
that's cool though. Congratulations on taking that step.
It's the first step, and there's a lot more to go. I realized, and this is why I'm actually saying it, because my next broadcast I'm going to bring it up. But it was one of those decisions that I made actually when we were, talking about this about like a week, or we talked about doing this a couple weeks ago, or about a week and a half ago, something like that.
Yeah.
And when we talked yesterday, and you said, "Yeah, let's do it tomorrow night," I was like, I think I should bring it up, because my parents know, and I told you they're real conservative. They know, and a couple really good friends know, and I just thought, when you're going through changes like this in your life, whether you're going through a hard time, you're moving, a relationship break, you're going through something, whatever, remember that you're not alone. You have people. You have people that care about you, and they care about your well-being. And that was enough to make me be like, I need to do this. And, have people that, I don't know, I wouldn't say keep me accountable, because I don't want people to be like, "Hey, Toof, you're not smoking, right?" Like, I really don't. I don't know. It's not so much about that. Well, not that it really matters, but like, it's more so just the. It's nice to just be able to have somebody to talk to. Like, I actually said to, I actually said to my mom today, I was like, we went to the store, and there were these jerks, and they were cutting us off and not paying attention. One of them was on the phone, and the other person was yelling at somebody else, like that was there physically, and like it was just like a mess. And my mom, she's a real sweet lady. She just went like this with like a smile on her face, just kind of like, like, and let them go by. And they just totally stopped everybody's movement at the store. And I just looked at her and said, and that's why I used to smoke. And that's why I used to smoke. But, it's easy to give in, I think, sometimes to to things like that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with smoking. Don't let people shame you, make you feel bad. I think that kind of stuff is stupid. But at the same time, you know, I don't know. I think it's something that not just smoking, but I think certain things in general, if it's not good for you and people care enough about you, they'll be there for you during it. And
I get that.
yeah, it was that moment where I was like, it's time to do this. I don't know why I'm still smoking. It's not good for me at all. Says the guy who's about to drink some bean water. That's some good coffee though.
So you tell young Tooth not to smoke, just quit it. Yeah.
Just get the patch and get some coffee in your system. Yeah. I mean, trade one habit for another, right? But we haven't gotten as many reports about people with terrible coffee issues yet.
Yeah, well, I drink a lot of coffee, so I feel you on that one.
Dude, there probably is a bunch of research, but it's like whatever. Everybody runs on coffee. That's going to be impossible.
Yeah. So let's say I'm looking into getting into streaming, and I finally quit smoking. What advice would you have for me as someone who's just getting into streaming?
Well, I would actually say it's probably a really good thing to do because, all right, so I look back at this actually, and you see, I was working at a pizza joint. It was a bar pizza joint, and in the food industry, I think everybody at that place I worked at, but one person smoked tobacco. Every person but one person smoked tobacco.
Wow.
All of us smoke. We live in Michigan. It's cold in winter. Like, it's frozen here. It's awful. Lake effect snow. You ever heard of that? Lake effect snow. Anyways, so we're crazy. I don't know what we were thinking. But anyways, it's just one of those things where those kind of jobs are real stressful. And like when I started streaming, I thought about it a bunch. Like I said, I've been trying to put this off for like 4 years, I've been putting off quitting for like 4 years. And it was hard because I would do 7 to 9 hours of work a day, and then I'd come home and stream. And I wish I would have used that time, because before I started streaming, this is advice for everyone. Even if it's not a lot, if you can only do 3 nights a week for 3 to 4 hours a week, have a schedule. That's so important. You tell that to people when they come in and ask you about streaming. I know you do. We all do. It's right. It's true. It doesn't always. Sometimes you have to make exceptions. That's okay. But if you have a general schedule, that's how you help. That's one of the main steps that can help you grow a community. Game selection, of course, is a big part of it. But what was the original question again? Hold on.
What advice you would give a new streamer?
Oh, no, and about the tobacco thing. That was kind of both, but I would say, like,
it was more of a segue.
I did segue. I did.
It was a segue.
I knew the next question. It's true though, because I think it goes with that. I started fake streaming for 3 to 4 hours. I wasn't doing the Steam thing. I would do that before work. What I was doing was, during the hours I knew I was going to stream, pretty much at midnight, around there, I would I would watch videos about streaming. I would look at how to set up my OBS, things that you do with that stuff. Filters weren't even a part of OBS yet. Remember that? It wasn't even in studios. Not all the filters. I think there was some early stuff, but not like what we have now. Now we have like everything. You can have a compressor, you can have noise gate, all that stuff. It's really nice to kind of access the stuff that we have through a open, free broadcasting tool.
Feels much easier now, huh?
So much easier. And even if you don't use OBS, some of you guys might use a broadcasting software that you pay for. Regardless, you got to put in the work to understand it, to work with it, and the other elements of your stream. What kind of alerts and stuff are you using and stuff like that. It's funny because I'm talking about this. I have one of the most minimalist streams I know. I pretty much will just have a camera in the game. That's it. I do have alerts that come up, but that's it, and a lot of people have asked me about that. They're like, why don't you go the extra mile with the other things that we had before? And I don't know. I just didn't feel like that necessarily added, any, I don't know. I'm one of those people where I feel like it depends on your motives. And don't ever let anybody tell you you're doing something wrong with your stream unless you're breaking like big taboos and or TOS.
Right.
That's like the only exceptions, because in the end, like there are people that do stuff I totally don't agree with, but they're not taboo and they're not breaking TOS. Maybe they're borderline taboo, but they're not, and they're not breaking TOS.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's not my place, and I hope they wouldn't try to put their nose in my place.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I think is real important. You know, learning your style. These are all things that really help. And I kind of spent the first couple weeks before, you know, like I told you, like I knew I wanted to stream.
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure at the time, but I still put in like stream hours. And I did do that, but I wish I would have also used that time to like not smoke. Mm-hmm. Instead, I kept doing it because I was like busy with that and work. I was like giving myself excuses. I'm stressed out. I'm busy. And I just kept doing it.
Yeah. And, I mean, there's something to be said, right, about your state of mind and your health, you know, in anything you do, right? It will affect your work, and I mean in this case stream, but like most things will bleed into a stream, right? Like if you're having a bad day, or you know, like, so I see the connection. I see the, you know, because you probably would have been, you know, feeling a lot better, a lot less stressed too, probably.
Maybe.
You don't think
if
so?
I would have quit?
Yeah, because you're saying you thought about it. You were saying you thought about it.
Here's the thing. I got to be honest. Some of the most stressful days ever, I hadn't had a cigarette in like 3 hours. And after like being like, we need to take a break. You know, there's like one guy, it's just you're allowing him to get on your nerves, and it's your fault because you're allowing it to get to you and it shouldn't. You know what I mean? You're just like, oh, this fucking guy. He likes me just enough to be in my channel, but he loves hating me.
Yo,
you know,
I know that one.
You get those. You get those guys. You get those guys that actually really want to watch you fail, and they will watch as much as you.
This guy knows who he is, I think, if he's watching this.
We all have one.
You know who you are. He's also
like Spider-Man.
He's like one of my biggest supporters too, but I think it's because he's in that category. he loves. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel ya.
So like that's when I feel like it is the biggest temptation, and honestly, if anything, though, it has been one of the biggest relievers.
Mm-hmm.
But as corny as it sounds, because it's different, like we're talking about chemical things and mental things almost, like, and technically smoking's a part of both of that, and when you're talking about these elements, but
it's a bit of both.
I feel like the things that give me more of a coping mechanism than any of it, this almost sounds forehead, but you know, I was talking about the idea of having people holding you accountable for the tobacco concept.
Right.
Well, some people hold you accountable for your own well-being just in general, and I know some people, they know like my boy's getting tilted, and they'll just send a Discord thing just being like, hey, by the way, you're beautiful, fuck the noise. That's all they'll say. Yeah. And I've had someone do that to me when I was really pissed one night, and I legit just kind of, and then they sent me a video of a dog licking something, and it was like really goofy. It was just like one of those like 10-second clips of just like, and he was just like licking a gourd or whatever. I don't even know. Had peanut butter on it. I don't know. It was just goofy. And you have, you know, it's like a Halloween thing.
Now I know what to send you, Dylan.
All of that sounded lewd. People are like, that's not what they sent you. They sent you prawn. Anyways. But the point being, like, you know, sometimes you can, you know your friends, and sometimes the smallest thing you can do for them, it could be tiny.
Yeah.
It could be small AF, and it can be a huge deal. And not that I'm saying you need other people to help you when you're having hard times. Sometimes I just remember that stuff. I've had some days that were rough, and I was able to 180 because there were people in that channel that believed in me. But more importantly, because sometimes you just have to, like, I feel like it's kind of hard. You got the feelings, but one thing that I've been doing that does help me some days is I just try to like really focus on those super positive moments, the moments that, you know, make Twitch worth, you know?
Yeah.
And then you just are like, yeah, this is so much better in the crap, so who cares? You just have to, it's way in balance. Yeah. Ever growing struggle here on the Twitchosphere.
The Twitchosphere. Who do you watch on Twitch?
Oh man.
Like when you're not
mix.
when you're okay.
A mix. Let me go to the extremes and then go to more of the people that I like watching on the reg, I'd say.
Sure.
Like when I say on the reg, I mean more like the people I'll also host and like our community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like there's a lot of people I watch that I'm never gonna host. You know, Dakota's. I don't know if you know who he is. He plays Fortnite. He used to play DayZ and a bunch of other games before that. He's just a really cool, down to earth dude. He was a hardcore grinder where he pretty much had anywhere from 200 to 500 viewers at a time for like 6 years.
Yeah.
And in this last year, because of Fortnite, he was one of the first guys that was playing it at a pretty high level early on when like nobody was playing it. Because, you know, at first it was just the people that had the PvE that still were playing the game kind of, and we're like, oh, there's a BR, cool, because you had to pay a bunch of money for it back then. It wasn't free to play right away. I was one of those people that played it just for fun on the side, and it was fun when it was casual. Every once in a while you come across a guy like Dakota's, but it wasn't that common back then. Now it's a try-hard game. Everyone's trying to make their, you know, billion-dollar debut.
They want to be the next Ninja, right?
They want to be the next Ninja. I mean, Ninja wasn't even Ninja until Fortnite. He was a huge streamer, but he never was at. Nobody has ever been at his level that he's at now.
Yeah, I think Fortnite had a lot. Yeah, Fortnite had a lot to do with that.
Fortnite, and we've seen it with Twitch, and I hate to say it, YouTube, because YouTube is really what's feeding it every time. Whatever game is huge and popular, they are usually the people that the content is being shown on YouTube on the whole. Sure, there's some people that only do YouTube that play the games that are really well known and get a lot of content. But I feel like there's, especially with some of these niche games, you get more streamers on Twitch that are playing it every day, and they're also uploading it on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
And it's been getting huge exposure. We have seen Twitch grow exponentially, and I truly believe it's because of some of these other titles.
Oh, yeah.
You know, some games like League have been doing that throughout.
Yeah.
But
League was what got me into Twitch.
Was it?
Yeah.
I didn't know you played League.
Oh, yeah. League of Legends, man.
I never played it.
Back in the day. That's what brought me to Twitch.
I played Dota for like 20 minutes.
Oh. Me too. But yeah,
I played a skull guy that floated and shot ice at people.
My only experience in Dota was a friend of mine who was not yelling at me, but his friend was yelling at me. Like he's like, oh, I'm gonna bring my friend more, and he's a big League of Legends player, so you should be all right at this. And I was like, no promises. And we went in, and sure enough, his try-hard friend, what are you doing, man? Like, he was just like on me. I was like, dude, this is literally my first game of Dota. And he tore me a new one. We played like 2 games, and I was like, cool, I'm out. Thanks. So,
dude, you need to meet my boy Kamikaze Frost.
Yeah,
he's just a random dude that just showed up on my channel one day, and he played Dota. Me and him would play together, and he was just like a Cali. Pretty sure he was a stoner, because you would always just hear him be like, "Let's go." But like, he was just so chill, and I was terrible at the game.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, when I say 20 minutes, I had probably a few hours, but I didn't play a lot.
Yeah.
I played it with him only, and it was funny because like I was terrible. And we'd get done, and he'd just be like, "Good job,
that
man.
was good, dude."
We would usually win because he was that good.
Yeah.
But like, I would do terrible, and he knew it. But like, that's the kind of people you got to surround yourself, not the people that are just like, "Man, what are you doing? What are you doing?" Because that stresses you out, and then you act out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I was pretty much. That's cool. I'm out. That was my response. Yeah. So who else?
I don't like multiplayer games with uber tryhards. I like being with people that want to have a good time and try to do their best. But like, whenever I get somebody that puts the pressure on, like that's just when I get either stressed out or toxic.
Yeah. Who else do you watch?
Being honest.
Who else do you watch on Twitch?
Tim the Tatman.
Tim the Tatman. Okay.
I love him. He's just great.
He's great.
He's
been at it forever.
Yeah,
doing this
back when he was skinny. Sorry, had to be said.
You're not wrong.
I won't go deeper than that because I actually enjoy him. I don't mean it out of disrespect. If anything, he's like, damn straight put a fat joke in there. I earned it.
Yeah.
He's actually not as fat as people really, that's the thing. That's kind of the fun about it, is he's a husky guy, but Fuck,
Dude,
he could
I've got
knock me out. I'm 6'2", and he could knock me out.
yeah, dude.
I think
Yeah.
he's like 6'4", though, dude. He's huge.
He's big. He's a big dude.
Mm-hmm.
He's good. He's one of the first people I watched too.
I'm a big fan of Simcopter 1.
Yes.
He was playing Stardew Valley about a month before I was streaming it.
So you watched him.
And he streamed it a little bit still into the month that I started.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually hosted him a couple times way back when in my first like month. And I did it whenever we had like crazy big streams for us, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like I'd just get some lucky numbers. Like I'd go long all day or whatever, do like a 9-hour stream, and
Mm-hmm.
we'd have like 35 people. And I was just like, this is nuts. Cause that is really good for like anybody, really. For anybody.
Dude, I'm stoked when
great.
I'm stoked when I hit that.
I mean, I think I had that much at my peak last night reading Alice in Wonderland, and you know what? I was thrilled. I looked at it in my summary, and because that's the thing, I don't look at numbers often during unless like there's incentives or whatever kind of a thing. Like maybe we'll go longer if there's more viewers, whatever. But like, I love reading. This is all right. This isn't for everybody. We were talking about like some people don't want to look at those numbers, whatever, while you're streaming, but maybe it's not for you. But I think personally, I'm a data guy. I like looking at my stats after the fact and kind of like studying about it, and thinking about it. You know, that's just me.
Actually, I would venture a guess to say a lot of us are on Twitch just because we're all gamers, right? And a lot of gamers are. I mean, we all love, you know, just for the fun of it. But there's that side of us who are like achievements, trophies, right? Like, and data kind of gets us really close to that, right? So it's.
That's a really good point.
You know what I mean? So like,
stats are a big deal.
I think stats are a big deal for streamers, to be honest with you, and across the board.
Here's the thing though, never obsess over them, because I will tell you there are times where your stats look like you can read it 1,000 ways over and you go, I'm just treading in place, and it can look like that.
Yeah,
but
we've had this conversation.
We have. You came. I'll just call you out. He came to me quite a while ago.
Oh yeah.
And asked me just for streamer, just tips in general. You know, maybe what's your opinion on this?
Yeah.
And I just personally decided like just being like, hey, and by the way, regardless of your numbers, always remember there are times where feels like you're treading in place, but what you don't see is that these 5-10 people are not in your stream for a week because they're doing exams, they're busy as hell, but your numbers are the same. You don't see it, but you are growing sometimes. And sometimes the games go through waves. Sometimes you have to decide, man, maybe this isn't the best for our stream and directory. You know, it just depends. There's a lot of little factors, but I think overthinking it, and I think, you know, doubting yourself is probably like, when it comes to, you know, that's like probably, I would say, some of the biggest things to try to avoid, which is why I think for early streamers, a lot of those stats are something to be, I don't know, kind of be oblivious to it on purpose. Just let it, you know, like enjoy it for what it is. But I think it's one of those things where, I don't know. Because when you say a lot of people come to you and they ask you how you do it, and they're struggling and they're you know, discouraged, and you know it's hard, but you know they still have those 2-3 people that they're talking to and having a good time with. And deep down, you know, sometimes we forget that that's really enough. You know, it sounds silly, but we start somewhere, and if we're having fun with that, but if you're not having fun, you're discouraged, you still might have those 2-3 people, but it's not as a good time as you would be able to. And honestly, you probably won't grow as much because of that.
I mean,
having a good time and entertainment goes hand in hand.
It's really, you know, I think we all fall into that numbers trap from time to time. I've personally had the whole I've had the, you know, I'm barely doing, you know, I'm barely growing, or you know what I mean, like or you know, things aren't, you know, I feel like I haven't done anything with this channel, right? Like, and you're right though, like it's the knowledge of, you know, you still have people that come by, you still have people that support you. Those people that have supported you are busy, or life happens, or things happen, and they'll be, you know, they may be back, they may not be, but who knows. But that was a big growing point for me, was accepting that. And I think that was
Can I
about,
ask you a question?
yeah.
Did you already accept that by the time I randomly brought it up to you?
Yeah.
I was just curious, time frame wise.
Yeah, I'd already accepted it. And by the time you and I talked about that, that was not the issue for me. I think the issue for me was like, okay, well, I'm not worried about that, but what do I do? You know, what do I like? And I still, you know, real talk, even now, I still don't, like, I think I know what I need to do, and I still do those things from time to time, but every so often I convince myself that it's, you know, it's not working, or it's like, you know, I'm forever gonna be like where I am, and that I should be okay with that, and more often than not I am. But every so often I begin to get into my own head about it. So I don't know. It's interesting. It's I think a lot of streamers who've been at it for a while, especially the ones who, you know, I think are in like the affiliate spot, wanting to get to partner someday, I think they all feel that at some point.
And you've heard my rant about emotes.
Mm-hmm.
You heard my rant about affiliates. I've felt this way before I was a partner, and I still feel this way. And personally, I wish they would have waited on your badges.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why. I think that should have been the after the fact battle to win.
Mm-hmm.
Because though that's cool and it shows love to your community, they're still avoiding one thing. Sub points mean nothing to affiliates. And they should. They shouldn't mean the same as partners, but they should mean something. Because if you go from affiliate to partner, and it's going to happen regardless. I think there's a small little stepping stone. You've heard me rant about it, but I think there should be 3 tiers of affiliate. Everybody gets naturally entered into tier 1 because you haven't had any subs yet, right?
Right.
And you have the ability to have a sub button. You can get bits now. And the sub points, for those that don't know, as partners, you can have so many emotes based on how many sub points you've gotten at one period of time. You can upload emotes, and your community can use them all across Twitch. It's cool. Tooth PL in chat, lol. So, your two butts. All right, I gotta stop making the jokes. But anyways, the thing about it is, I still feel this way. I think at 100 to 150 sub points, 200 or 250 sub points, that should be your next tiers. You know, because that's a lot of sub points. Not even a lot of partners have sometimes that many. And I know a lot of affiliates that have that many, if not way more.
Dude, yeah.
And a lot of them end up getting partnered and such. But, you know, I feel like having a goal to reach those would mean something.
Yeah.
It should mean something. But for affiliates, it doesn't. And I think at these different tiers, you should add one more tier 1 emote slot. I think it would be very helpful for affiliates because it would give the community something to grow for. They already have their 3 emotes, 1 for each tier, depending on level of support. And I feel like a community that has reached over 250 or 300 subs should have at least 1 or 2 more tier 1 emotes. I don't think they should go more than 3 for tier 1. I think 5 should be the limit for affiliates. But I think it says a lot about your community, and I think it says something for growth. You know, because, you know, like you were saying, I think you have a great community. You guys work hard. You have a lot of fun. And like you said, sometimes it kind of feels like you're in that spot that you kind of, you know,
is this it?
That might be your range.
Yeah.
But, you know, having, I think, even something as small as that kind of incentive, I think it could help drive your community at least in another way. And what does more emotes mean? It means more expression. I feel like emotes on Twitch is really a channel's way of going, like just expressing themselves, having a voice all across Twitch if they wanted
to. A lot of people sub for emotes. I mean, people sub to support the streamers, but
way more sub for support, like, but you definitely get like 5 to 10%. But
you get the people who, a lot of the time, that's the deal breaker, right? Like it's like, oh, I want to support this person. Oh, they also have a cool emote, right?
I've seen people go, I kind of wanted to give them my Twitch Prime, but their emotes aren't that good.
Yeah,
you know, like I've seen that.
It's a thing.
That's not always the case, but emotes, it's your branding. I think when it goes down to your panels below your broadcast, your banner that now is actually hidden in most situations. It's all your branding.
It's branding.
Yeah.
What's next for Laquetuph? Where do you go from here?
I want to incorporate more reading.
Yeah.
I want to incorporate. I need to get better. I need to do something that a lot of you guys do a better job of than I do, which is, what days you're going to be doing certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm going to be doing Oxygen most of the time, but on this day we're going to be playing RimWorld, whatever, Planet Coaster. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. I need to do better stuff at that. And in general, I just need to chill the fuck out. I need to remember that.
Yeah.
If one thing that I've been doing better, actually, believe it or not, like what I was talking about earlier, I'm breathing better right now. I'm getting breaths when I need to better now. And I don't mean that just because of that. Like, I think a lot of it has to do psychologically too. But
oh yeah,
like I said, man, we're always constantly growing. I'm gonna make more mistakes, but at the same time, I know that I feel like, I don't know, every time you make a mistake, it's not, I don't know, it's always different the next time around, and yet you learn something. And if you're not learning something, and I don't know, I just want to keep enjoying it and living in the moment instead of living in the past. I think that's an important thing to do. Don't be too stressed out about your mistakes, because sometimes it's like, my best friends and my most supportive people have seen the biggest mistakes of my streaming career, and they're still like, we don't care, you're amazing in our book. And sometimes you just got to remember to just go, okay, random guy, have a good day being toxic, just move on. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just gotta go, okay, fuck it.
Yeah.
Because
yeah,
because you got people to have fun with. You don't got time for their stuff.
You don't have time for that noise, right?
And I think just for me, the future is to not care about growth, seriously, because when it's all said and done, like, I want to grow, but
it doesn't come with worrying about it.
It goes back to when I wanted to be a partner a year before I got it, and I tried so hard and I lost myself in it. It's just,
you tried so hard and you got so far, but in the end, it didn't even matter.
You just got copyrighted.
Come on, that was good.
That was good. I'm sorry. I had to say it. I'm sorry. This might be the first time I've ever appeared on a broadcast of any type and not sang.
Dude. Well, I want to thank you, man. I want to thank you, Toof.
Well, thanks for having me more and more.
It has been a pleasure.